We are now 1 week into Phase 2 of Season of Discovery, so I figured I would share my thoughts on this new phase to help you decide if it's worth it for you to hop back into the game. In this phase, we received a level cap increase up to level 40, a new raid, new gear, a new PvP event, and so much more. So let's start off with leveling, as that is something that everyone will be doing. I thought the leveling process was pretty fun until I started to notice other people were already reaching level 40, and that's when I gave in and started to mindlessly grind the SM dungeons. It's not fun at all, but it is efficient. Now this really isn't something that I like doing, because it takes players out of the open world and puts them into a small condensed area tucked away from the world, and that just makes the rest of the world feel very empty, which is not something you want to have happen in a game like this. One of the highlights of Phase 1 for me was seeing everyone out in the open world questing or farming resources to level up their professions, and exploring the world to find secrets and runes. It made the world feel very alive. And that's partially because at the lower levels there aren't really any dungeons that you could spam for experience, other than maybe the Ragefire dungeon in Orgrimmar, but due to it being so easy to level up, it was just easier to level up to at least level 18 than do Wailing Caverns or Dead Mines. Sure, people were still doing dungeons, but it was more of a later game thing to get ready for the raid, so most of the zones were packed with people and it was really fun to see and be involved in. The root of this problem are the people who just want to speed through everything as quickly as they can to get ahead of the pack, which they have every right to do, but it results in the people who are behind abandoning the open world to keep up with them. And then we all end up just standing around with our dicks in our hands with nothing to do waiting for Phase 3, and that just isn't healthy for the game. Coming from Destiny 2, I have seen this happen before. A new update will come out, a bunch of players return and speed through everything, then they leave and the game bleeds out until a new update comes out. And I think that's why Destiny 2 started to timegate some of their content. Which of course I don't love, but I would rather have a reason to come back to the game every week, rather than banging out all of the content in 3 weeks and having nothing to do. But like I mentioned before, everyone has the right to play the game how they want to, and I really can't see Blizzard changing anything that would fix this issue. The only thing that I could think of to help would be to add a much smaller limit to the amount of dungeons players can do in a day until they reach the maximum level for that phase. And they would also need to increase the respawn rate of quest-related items and enemies in the open world. That way players can still get some experience from dungeons, but they will also need to quest out in the open world, and the increased respawn rate for quest items will help counter the increase of players in those areas. But that is just my opinion, and I honestly don't think that will ever happen, but it could help the overall health of the game, because I'm sure we are still 3 months away from Phase 3, and there already isn't a ton of things to do in this phase. So in a month from now, do you really think that you will have a reason to log into the game? The only reason to log into the game would be for PvP or to do the raid, which leads me to the next part of this video. The Gnomergan raid is really good. I felt like it was an overall good experience with rewarding loot and a surprise mount that somehow my buddy Jerry got on his second run. I usually prefer a more involved experience when it comes to raiding, and I enjoy learning and executing mechanics for raid boss fights. And the Gnomergan raid kind of delivered a little bit of that. It wasn't too crazy, but it was a step up from the BFD raid, where you kind of just had to show up for your loot. I'm not expecting a difficult raid that requires days of planning and hundreds of wipe to learn the mechanics, especially not in a level 40 raid, but it would be nice to see some difficult content come into the game once we are level 60. Adding on to my first point from this video, I think it would be really smart to have 2 raids in Phase 3. One that releases the same day Phase 3 launches, and another that releases halfway through the phase, again giving players a reason to come back to the game and giving us more to do. But when it comes to PvP, I don't have as nice of things to say. First off, I have always loved Arathi Basin, so I knew I would enjoy it in SoD, but that STV Bloodmoon event it's not great. It is usually such a laggy disaster that you don't even know what is going on, but I can see what they were aiming for. It's just a shame that it seems like they didn't test it at all, and it should have been refined for launch. Another issue that I have is that for some dumb reason, they took one step forward allowing us to carry up to 12 waylaid supply boxes, and then they made it so you can't turn in those boxes without filling them, and there are no good rewards for reaching Revered with that faction, so it's kind of pointless. But other than all of that, Phase 2 has been really good. The runes are always fun to hunt down, and the new Cozy Sleeping Bag questline offers a ton of useful rewards. But I just really wish there was more planning involved in these phases. I'm really enjoying this game and I want to see it do well. But those are just my thoughts on Phase 2. I think it's definitely worth it to hop back in or get started for the first time. Even if you just play for a month, you will still get your money's worth. But I would love to hear what you think about Phase 2 in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.